Good evening. How you doing? What am I doing? Let me bring my brother in. All right. Good evening. How you doing now? My name is Ronnie Russell. I'm the president of the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce. And
I
man,
am
you messed up. Nah,
Mark
he
from
messed it up. He
United.
messed it up.
Hold on. Hey, throw me the layup. Hold on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So this is Brother Tavares. He is executive director of the Village United. I wouldn't want to do anything with any other person in this city but this man right here. He has been a great inspiration to myself as well as a great inspiration to the community. And what we're bringing to you now is the Dynamic Youth Drone Experience, the conversation about how does opportunity breed success, and how can this program be implemented into the fabric of this city, because we talk about we are trying to find things for our kids. We're trying to locate what programs are there in the city. But when you create a program, you want to implement that program into a city, and then you want to duplicate that process and make it bigger and better. So how's your day so far?
Excellent, sir. Excellent, man. It's power packed. We're getting closer to the day of execution for the Dynamic Youth Drone Experience, and the excitement is building. The word is spreading, and I think now is the time for us to take that opportunity to look into the future. And technology is the way of the future. Innovation is the pathway towards the future. And so it's time for us now to see how we can get on the path towards success by partnering with individuals like the Village United, joining the IBCC, and being a part of this process, taking control of our reality and dominating the future space that we potentially can operate in. I'm excited, bro, and I thank you. And I wouldn't want to do anything with any other man on the face of this earth other than R2.
Yeah, so the very first, we have some dynamic city council person. So we put out a blast email, and we wanted to come in and just get there from their perspective about how does and what does STEM look like, and how can these programs be beneficial, not to the city itself, but just for the youth, because the youth is in every community. So this project and this program right here can be duplicated and get taken out of this community and put into another one and still be an asset. So the very first person we're going to bring into the room is no other than my bald head twin himself. Now, just playing. My friend himself, Mr. Ken Wilkerson. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how you doing, Ronnie Tavares? Thanks for having me on, fellas. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself and what district you represent.
Okay, well, I am Ken Wilkerson, and I represent all districts. I'm a city councilor at large, member of the Killeen City Council. I've been working with the youth here in the area and throughout my adult life pretty much, but particularly here in the area since 2008 when I first arrived as a military, as an officer out at Fort Hood. And what you guys are doing is a great segue into what we really need to be focused on, especially as Black people, as a city as diverse as we are. I've always said, although I'm an athletic coach and I coach baseball, basketball, and football, one of the things that I always thought that we were lacking in is setting up our youth for jobs, careers, opportunities that exist in multitudes that really drive our society, as opposed to those are entertainment things. And the chances of one of those people becoming an athlete, one of those young people becoming an athlete, is just so minute. I think that we as a people, as Black people, we really should be focused in on the things that really make the billionaires, that really make people have careers that have longevity, that you can do throughout your life, that keep your mind occupied. And STEM is a great way to do that. I have two sons that one is in college right now. He's in mathematics. He's taking mathematics curriculum. And my younger son is at Ellison. He's in the 10th grade. He's a student there, and he's focused on pre-AP and doing all the other things that lend itself to STEM. Now, they're both athletes. That's not to say you can't do both, but I think what you're doing is really opening the door. And I thank you and I applaud you for being the dominant. We see it out here in Killeen. There's nobody else doing it. And I thank you for doing that. And I'm all on board, man. It's a wonderful opportunity to be with you. And again, thanks for having me here. And look forward to the discussion.
Yes, and the next person we have is Miss Jessica Gonzalez. Please, ma'am, introduce yourself and what district you represent.
My name is Jessica Gonzalez, and I represent District 1 in the city of Killeen.
Thank you. And the very next person we have is Mr. Rick Williams. How you doing, sir?
Thanks so much for having me. And I am council member.
Rick's the oldest person in the room.
Okay.
Give him a chance. Give him a chance.
Well, hey, I was just listening. Jessica just did it. I don't want to run off with the show. But, no, I think that this is a STEMS program. Look, this is very inspirational. Way back in the 80s, I had the opportunity to be exposed to an engineering program to a university for the first time. A color could become in the future. So these types of programs are instrumental to students and help them see new opportunities that they may not have yet been in. So I am all in on this. I think this is a good city and want to see it expand. It's something good to engage them and allow them to expand their horizons.
I agree. One of the things about the STEM programs I absolutely love is the fact that this is going to help with the kids with critical thinking, right? It's going to give them an experience that they've never had before, and being able to do something hands-on and experience this is something they're going to carry with them forever, and hopefully generate their curiosity, right, as it relates to that, and carry it on. So thank you for bringing this to our city. We definitely need something like this. It's exciting.
And we appreciate that, and I appreciate all of our city leaders taking time out of their busy schedule to come and spend just a few moments with us to discuss a matter and to raise and spread awareness amongst your constituency and also the citizenry of the city of Killeen. I would like to say at this time that every council member responded positively. Unfortunately, rules govern the way that we can interact. So we were only able to get so many council members in this particular discussion, but we welcome all of our other council members to the discussion because it's a discussion that must continue.
Yeah.
It's not something that can be conducted in a vacuum. We have to strategically employ our resources and our influence in order to ensure that this is not a one-time experience, but a lifetime of experiences that lead us towards evolution, growth, and development. Because that's just the beauty of the word experience. It just makes you feel good when you say it, And if we can figure out how to cultivate the appropriate experiences, then we can change our environment because change comes through experience. When a person go get a job, they're not looking for the least experienced individual. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They're looking for the individual with the appropriate amount of experience. And so we have to ensure that we create those experiences. And so I thank you all. I thank you for the leadership, and I thank you for your dedication and your commitment to the city of Killeen. And I'm just enjoying being in this space with you all.
All right. I think to caveat on that, when you look at what the workforce of the future looks like, it can start right here in this city. We're co-located with what they call a Silicon Hill. Of course, you got Silicon Valley in California, and then you got Silicon Hill down there in Austin. But we're so close to Silicon Hill that we can actually create a newness in this environment, just like the last live that we had. Who was it with? Mr. Brett Williams. He said that we can create a hub for drones, to where in this environment we're teaching people how to fly drones at a larger scale. And it's true. So when we look at what the workforce of the future looks like, we can create that, because with this type of program creates industry. You're not waiting for industry to come into the city, but we create that industry. And as we begin to duplicate this program and duplicate those processes, and now people are going to come in the city to come to this program because there is a process they're going to go through but now they know that I want to stay here because I see there's a newness in this area. And I think it just could be beneficial all the way around, especially with the kids, and just creating a new line of not just experiences, but creating a new line of opportunity here in this city.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I like caveat on what you said, Ronnie. And I got to get my thought out before I forget it. You once you get past a half a century, you'll forget what you just thought about. But what you're talking about there is getting ahead on something that we know is coming, as
Exactly.
opposed to waiting for, to be a laggard in our community on things. I said this. I've been saying this for over a year now. That hey, look, let's take the lead on this thing. It often is very a precarious situation to be in when you're launching out on something that hasn't been done, or some type of city. You're trying to develop a city in a way that you don't really have an example. But I think we do have an example of what you're talking about here, and getting us set up here as a technology driven city. It just happened with other industries in other places. For instance, you talked about, Silicon Valley. If you'd have went out to Silicon Valley in the early 70s, or maybe even, early 70s, you would have said, no way. Well, why are you looking at doing this? There's no foundation for it. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? But I applaud you all for having the vision to say, hey, look, this is coming. You got to have faith that, and in some ways we're in a better position because everyone knows it's coming.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that we are going to a technology driven society, and whoever jumps out in front of it is going to reap the rewards the most. And so I particularly like that you're opening this up to entire city of Killeen, but with our diversity, with the Black people we have here, with the Hispanic population, we have a chance to change that dynamic of, service industry, just serving other industries. We can serve them in a way that reaps the rewards in a more, a really more, what's the word, dynamic way. I wish I was like DeVars and hey, could use my words. Like, I'm gonna have to sit down with you one day, DeVars, and learn how you just spout out like that, man. Everything you think, and I want to say, yeah, what he said. But yeah. So I caveat what you're saying, Ronnie, and I applaud you guys for doing it again.
Yeah, because think about it this too. This program really hitting it off. So now you have a manufacturer. They're like, man, they have a what in Killeen? Now let's bring that facility into Killeen, and now let's produce
Mhm.
drones, and let's bring this warehouse here, and stuff like that, because of the experience that's being circulated throughout, whether it's social media or just period. So
Mhm.
it could again create a new industry in this area by just creating a simple program like this. And
Yeah.
just like Mr. Williams had brought up, well, Mr. Brett Williams had brought up, Amazon is about to begin to take drones a part of their delivery. So as we're creating this, we're creating again that. So now if we're the hub for that, why wouldn't Amazon not want to create a satellite, or have the ability to create a satellite? Say you're going down I-95, 195, I-95, 195, and they got a big satellite Amazon over there, and everything in there is just technology and drones and cameras and stuff like that. Just because of what we started here, that's just what I see. Because if they're flying drones around, why wouldn't we not want to have little drone shops in downtown Killeen?
Yeah.
Somebody selling drones instead of just in the mall, but now you have people want to own drone shops, and they want to bring this to the downtown Killeen area. And now we're circulating not just the information, but we're circulating the economics. But then we're controlling what technology is being funneled into the city, and then we're managing the expectations of the talent pool, because it started here, they want to stay here, and it circulates here, and then we begin to hone in on what's next.
Yeah, and that's great, man. And I'm sorry to overspeak, but I'm just so excited about the prospects for it, and just dealing with drones. If we just, I was speaking more broadly about technology, but when you're talking about drones, I know the idea is most people just think security. They don't even think about what they're looking when they look at an overhead for real estate. Realtors are using that big time now. I mean, they're hiring people at significant cost to go out and paint a picture for them. But also with that, you have, it's not just security. You got real estate, you got delivery, which you mentioned already. There's so many things that you can do with this, with drones that, I think that this is just a segment of technology that could really inspire us. But it's something that if we always talk about having an identity for our city, make it about that. You guys setting up this program for it. Hopefully, it can generate academies, and then we are known as the, if you want to get into this industry, you got to go through Killeen. That'd be a great thing.
It's a step in the right direction. And to Mr. Wilkerson's point, when you're looking at, I love the fact that, this stimulates curiosity. So unfortunately, what our kids, what they don't know, but you're giving them the exposure now to this vast new world that is limitless. I mean, this is really exciting. And so for the first time, some of these kids are going to be able to see this drone. It's going to be a first time experience for them to actually touch and feel and control and be able to have that as an opportunity for them. So we're creating tons of opportunities, new experiences, memories that they're never going to forget, and then ultimately be able to carry it on with them as they move forward. And you were talking about the industries. So technology is great. You're talking about security. You're talking about delivery. Well, my personal passionate pastime is theater and film, primarily in film. So we have drone operators for film. So even if they are theater kids or they're film kids, there is an opportunity for them in every segment of industry, out there. So they're not limited to what they want to do once they learn, this thing. So it's really cool. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, I agree with that. And on both the other council members, you also pocket of creativity for these young people and these things that maybe has not been brought to the forefront yet. Program will be inspirational because our generation has a different level of creativity when it comes to technology of us on this call. So just by the exposure that they can go and create, which may lead to adding what the city does with these things. So this is huge. It's huge for our youth, for our city. We are inspiring a generation.
Yeah. And I would say, unfortunately, when we have bright ideas and things that are evolutionary, we often find ourselves not postured to act on those things because people in their infantile understanding don't understand that in order for us to be able to succeed in these endeavors, it requires support. So they'll allow us to be out here on this limb, and for the opportunists, our counterparts from other cultures, they sit back and instead of saying do the drone experience, they say do the academy, right? So for us, we say I'm doing my best to give you the drone experience so you will trust us to build the academy. But they ain't got to rely on our trust because they already got capital. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be able to figure out strategically how to put together our thinkers, how to put together our philanthropists, how to put together our individuals that have strategy under their belt, so we can bring to fruition these concepts by supporting the right initiative. And then for all of those who sit back and steal intellectual property, man, y'all can't do what we do. You know what I'm saying? Man, we don't spit written. We got plenty of this. We've been doing it ever since 2017 when we come. You know what I'm saying? But this is the time now for us to create that dynamic environment that I truly believe Killeen represents. But it takes leadership at this time. It takes us pulling together our pennies, nickels, and dimes and dollars and doing those things that are necessary to support the appropriate initiative. And I know we've been working real hard to try to prove that we are that. over there at the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce and at the Village United. The majority of things that we've done for the community, we have not asked for any support in doing those things because it's necessary for us to show the people that we are invested and that we're here for the people, right? But now it's time for the Lord to reap. And the point has come and he said, did you sow? You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey, man.
Hey,
Yeah.
the problem me you work on iniquity, I know you're not. You know what I'm saying?
No, I like it. I like exactly. You're exactly right. As far as it takes more than just a vision or some type of energy, just segmented or siloed off. What you need is exactly what you're doing here. Is you're reaching out to city council members and you're saying, "Hey, set the infrastructure for it. Anything that you can do as far as funding, grants, property, anything that we have as far as a resource to start catering that." So we need to have these discussions so we can start planning this out. It doesn't just happen just because everybody wants it to. It does take a plan, and sometimes that plan has to have contingency plans beyond what we can even see right now. So I say, yeah, I don't know anybody particularly who's against this. And I'm sure there are those people who don't want to see us progress because of how we look or whatever the reason might be. They're not going to make themselves known. They're going to work behind the scenes and they're going to try to sabotage and move things to the left or right. And they're also competing interests too. There's always somebody out there who's trying to say something else that we should be doing. And so you have competing interests as far as resources of what the city can provide for you. But I can tell you right now, I feel confident in saying you have 3 champions on your screen right now that would be willing to go to bat for you and say, hey, look, no, not that, but this. Because it is that sometimes you have to shoot something down to get something else, and from what I gathered from what you told me, Tavares, and Ronnie and we've actually had discussions about how to come together and talk offline and talk and develop these plans and then bring them forward to the public and say, hey, this is what we're all about. And it's more concrete and it doesn't have as many, you got that armor. You got the little chink. Somebody gonna find that chink and try to pry that armor open. So the more you can bind together and start having these type of discussions, I think you're better off. I think we're better off as a society. I think we're better off as Killeen. I think we're better off as Black people. And I think you guys are the right leadership to put in place to go ahead and start doing that. I look forward to continuing working with you on this. And even though yes, I'm a city leader, I have no problem following good leadership when you have the idea. It's not about me. It's more about us.
Yeah.
Right on.
That's well stated. In addition to that, again, behind a vision, sometimes we got to dig in our own pool or, capable of being able to give, we can do it. We can do it. We can put some money, not just, looking toward, government as a structure, but, believe in something, you should be prepared to step up to it. If you've got those who have that ability, should be willing to stand in the gap for those who can move forward with all projects.
And I would like to add to what Rick is saying, because, I've sat in the council meetings and I know you 3 are very, very knowledgeable and studied in the budget and the fiscal responsibilities of the city, right? But I also understand that Fort Hood is the largest military installation in the continental United States that numbers between 35 and 50,000 people with a median income of about $40,000 a year. Now, I ain't going to multiply 50,000 times 40,000 in order to get what money is in the environment. I ain't gonna do that. That's a waste of time. You see what I'm saying? So, and we're not gonna play with anyone's intelligence. At this point, I think as a city, we got to get out of the mindset where whenever we got a good idea, we go and throw that onto the city. You know what I'm saying? I think now is the time period where those individuals who are in power or in authority that have been selected by the city, I think the responsibility is, and y'all forgive me, this is just where my spirit's going in this conversation, but I think it's the responsibility of those individuals now to highlight those individuals from amongst us that have the ability to do things that we can galvanize around because it's in the best interest of the environment. Mm-hmm. And so in doing that, then we can execute what Mr. Williams said. We can put together those nickels, dimes, and dollars so we can now do something for our environment. You see what I'm saying? And then when
Yeah.
it alleviates the burden of the city, it makes the city more appealing, and it makes the job of our civic leaders even easier, because now they're able to bring in industry, because the industry now looks into that environment and they see the talent pool that exists instead of the rising crime rate. You see what I'm saying? Because we're working collectively in order to address these issues. Man, it's a dynamic environment over there in Killeen, and we got to get after it. Yes, ma'am.
What you just said was working collectively, right? That's the key there, and that's huge, because this now it can become that unifying community citywide event that not only are we focused on our children, the young people, but we're bringing together the city for a good cause. So to your point, this can be so big. There's a lot of opportunity here, right? If we can get this going, and but collectively, we can definitely make this happen.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something. I like the term collectively at this period of my life. I've been an individual far too long, right? I started out and I was one of them guys. Hey, I was marching down the street by myself, beating to my own drum, and then I realized that I was ostracizing 66% of the environment. You know what I'm saying? No, we need 100% of them jokers. You know what I'm saying? Working together in order to improve the condition in that community, because 100% of the people in the environment is responsible for the failure of the environment. We can't just blame those in the low socioeconomic demographic. We can't just blame those that top 2% that suck all of the life out of the environment by hoarding the wealth of the environment. We ain't gonna blame you, even though you got a responsibility to it. And we can't blame that muddled middle that is really just existing because, man, I wanted to do 20 years and now I just want to be a Walmart greeter. You know what I'm saying? It's everything exists in that environment. But I think when you get those individuals together, we all understand that 1, technology is the way. 2, our children deserve an opportunity, and 3, it's our responsibility in order to bring it into existence.
Well
And
said.
I think what we're doing here is we're changing the engineering process. For those that do know what social engineering is, we have been socially engineered. Well, there has been a large group of people that have been socially engineered to see Killeen from a particular perspective that's been pushed on the city. So I think
I'll say it if you want, Ronnie, in a negative. They've been. Yeah, I'll say it.
Right. So
It's known, man. Yeah.
Good.
So when we begin to social re-engineer what the city, what is happening in the city, then we begin to paint what the picture looks like. Because oftentimes the canvas is given to us with somebody else's art on it. But we need to take that canvas and begin to wipe the canvas and put what's really going on in the city. And I believe at one city council meeting, I think that was something that Mr. Wilkerson had brought up with highlighting the good things in the city. It's like taking a dog, you beat that dog gonna tuck his tail and it's not going to be happy anymore. But when you take that dog and put that dog in somebody else's home, you start giving that dog treats, that dog is ready to do backflips for the person that is allowing that dog to know that I am a good dog. You know, I'm not the bad dog that always been beat in the head and kicked every time somebody come into the house. But when you praise the dog, that dog has the ability, not calling people dogs, but just using the analogy.
An analogy we use though, Ronnie, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, but Rick and I, we've had discussions about it. I talked to several people about it. Is that Killeen is that beautiful girl that doesn't know she's pretty, and and sometimes you just got to dress up and get a nice dress and tell her how beautiful she is. And that way, it sounds silly, but I think there's a lot of gravity to what that is. And not to stray too much off of what your program and the drones, but you're hitting the nail on the head. We stop being afraid to step out and be what we could be. Stop believing the hype as far as, hey, you'll never be, or that's what this city, I'm 100%. I mean, and again, not to cut you off, but so you don't have to get in that problem with the dog situation again. Yeah, we just we're beautiful people that don't know how beautiful we are right
Hey,
now.
Peter, I didn't mean anything with the dogs. Don't be trying to.
Animal Advisory Committee gonna be after you, man.
The president of the chamber kicks dogs on Channel 10 News. No. I ain't do it. I'm just saying, Tavares did it.
Hey, real man, I was driving down I-20 in February as I was returning for Black Business Week, and I was asking myself, what is bringing me back to this city? Like, what is there? Like, what? And I asked myself as I'm driving in my vehicle, I said, where does this road lead? right?
Ooh.
Because I'm out here now. I can go anywhere I want. I could have turned that thing around. I could have went to Chicago, New York. I could have kept going and went to LA. I could have went to Tacoma, Washington. Where does this road lead, and why is it headed back to the city of Killeen? Because there's something special there. And if we don't mind that environment for the benefit that's in that environment, and we had a specific conversation as chamber members for the Black Chamber when we were talking about the benefits and the blessings that have been given to us. We don't want to bury ours in the ground. We don't want to be wicked and slothful and not doing those things that are necessary in order to be able to grow the environment. And so it's just time. It's time for us to do what's necessary in order to be able to grow it. We all identify that we're having a conversation that is not being had in many places. But if we're having it, we understand that the way that the mind works, we understand that it's a thought that's in the atmosphere and it's going to begin to oscillate. And so we'll look up, and then Austin will be that place, Dallas will be that place, or Houston will be that place. And then what will we be? The same thing that Mr. Johnson used to speak about for many years during his tenure as a city council member, an environment that is solely dependent upon Fort Hood as its mammary gland. And this is an opportunity for us to be able to take back our power as citizens of the environment and command our reality. And then do something that now is appealing that force Fort Hood to need us as an environment, so there can be that equal exchange of equity, like my brother Ronnie always talk about. Not equality. We ain't concerned about equality, but we're supposed to be equity.
Equity. Yeah, what I need to make me whole. Exactly.
Come on, man.
Well said.
You got it. I know you got it. You know what I'm saying? There's 40 bands.
Yeah, just and Ronnie, if you could explain just a little bit about the program. But anyone who's watching this, they see that we're excited about it, and they see that we're on board. We're trying to help and be one of those pillars. And as far as it, but can you explain a little bit about the program so that everybody has a good understanding of what we're talking about here?
So what's going to happen is the first portion of it is the virtual part, where they're learning how to, well, one, what a drone is, how the drone operate, what a drone can do, and then they get the classes on drone safety. So it's not just, oh, my kid is going to fly a drone. No, you have to learn. It's like in the military. There's instructions, and then there's safety, and then there's a safety brief, and then we go fly. So your child is going to learn how to identify the drone and the parts of the drone, and how to fly the drone, and all the safety mechanisms with it. So then once we get finished with all of the curriculum that's a part of that class, then on the last Saturday of the month, which is next week, they're going to learn how to fly it. They're actually going to be flying the drone. So there's 20 drones that we have purchased. At the end of the class, then 20 kids are going to be blessed with the drones. Have anyone ever went to a workshop, or even in school, because KISD have drones within the Career Center, but the drones stay there in the school. But in this workshop, you have the ability to be blessed with the same drone that you actually learned, and you're able to take that process that you have learned, and then you're able to action that, and to the continuation of learning even after the class is over. So it's just going to make it a much more larger scale, because I've been a part of programs to where whatever I worked on stayed in the class, and then I have to walk away from it, but you can't really practice on it. But you actually have the ability to have that, and you can fly it and take the 4K camera with that drone, and then start your own thing. So I think even the 10, so there's older kids and there's younger kids. So the older kids, they have the much more expensive drone that they're going to be learning, and then you have the younger kids with the lightweight drone, but they're still going to have drone that they can practice. It's kind of like if I'm playing football on a varsity team, on a junior varsity team, I want to get there. So what do I need to do to get there? So let me learn at this level what I need to accomplish if I want to be in the next class and get the big boy drone. So you have succession from the youth class, and then they want to go to the older class. So make sure your child, as you can see inside the content of the post, you see the application. So click that link inside the application, and then make sure you sign your child up for it, because this will definitely not be the last and the only chance for you to register for this class. I guarantee you we're going to do it again. So if you're interested with even being another asset, if you want to inject some sort of commerce in order for us to continue this process, make sure you reach out. Email villageunited254@gmail.com, or info@innovationbcc.org, and reach out to us, and we'll definitely reconnect with you. And
I
I
got
think
it.
you had something, Ms. Gonzalez.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jessica. Go ahead.
No, I think this is great. And again, so the future for this, so the first one is done. Are there plans to get this going? Is it quarterly or annually, or do you guys have plans for that for the future?
Yes, well, actually, ma'am, based on the support that we're receiving right now, is definitely something that we have to look at and plan for a quarterly experience. And based on that support that we receive, it'll give us the ability to know what we can do moving forward. And so really, because with the drones that we purchased thus far, our instructor, which is a certified drone pilot, he recommends that that expensive drone be the drone that we use for everyone. And that's going to require some support. It's going to require us now as leaders really rolling up our sleeves, creating those dynamic relationships, and generating the revenue necessary in order to be able to make it sustainable. And so that is definitely where we are with it right now. This is our inaugural event, but it is definitely going to be a quarterly event based on the support that we're receiving right now.
Awesome.
How can we chip in? Because I'd like to put my money where my mouth is, and I see you guys have already done that. But if there's an opportunity to chip in, I know you said commerce. Of course, I don't have a business per se to do that, and of course, I always support you as a council member. But is there a way that people can donate to this and make sure that it has a better opportunity to succeed?
Yes, absolutely. And if Secret is watching, or if Joanne is watching, now is the time to plug our cash apps into those comments, right? But what we'll do for y'all, ma'am and gentlemen, is we'll send you a copy of our support letters so that y'all can have that, because I think that the real power that exists in y'all, in this particular group of individuals that we're speaking to right now, is y'all influence writ large. So if you could just share with those individuals that we are a worthy, this is a worthy initiative. Mm-hmm. So we can generate the support that's necessary. Hell, man, the coin is in the fish's mouth. Like we don't want to be able to exhaust one individual. We know that you're fully invested. I know your commitment. You exercise that commitment in your campaign and the things that you did in order to be able to secure the nomination in the election to represent us as a city. Now it's time for us to extend that influence out so that individuals will see, right? This is an initiative that you can give a penny, nickel, dime, dollar, 100, 1,000, 10,000, $1 million if you got it, right? That's right. These organizations are 501c3 organizations, but more importantly than just the 501c3, because it's a whole bunch of people that have them. We have receipts. Over the course of the last 4 years, you can go and you can do your research. Put Village United in KDH website and watch what pop up. Put IBCC in the KDH website. Watch what pop up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I was at an event back in Killeen. The Joker was trying to, be condescending and talk slick to me. I had to hit him like how Shaq told Charles Barkley. I say, Google me, Chuck. Google me. Hey, man, come on, man. We creditable individuals, and our heart is in it for the people,
Yeah, it's all great, man. I really like Ronnie's point about getting the experience too. Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers, he talks about 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. And a lot of times we do get locked out of the instructional realm of what we're doing, and we just don't have time to really showcase our ability because we don't have the time on the instrument. So that's really unique, and it's a great way to approach it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Man, it's been powerful. I just love being in a room where there's good, not just energy, but synergy. And I think what we're starting right now is the beginning of new conversation. We have had so much of old conversation with old rhetoric, and old thought processes that we have overshadowed the new conversations that are beginning to be had. And if you haven't, I know it's not just me who feel it. There is a newness and a new energy that has been circulating. When I first got here to Fort Hood, it just felt like there was a cloud that was heavy
Mm,
on the city and the installation itself, and there was so much dark activity that was going on, but it was so dark that it overshadowed the light. And I'm beginning to see right now that there is light that's cracking through the clouds, and there is light that's bursting through the clouds, and it's setting its own self up to be it's setting itself up to allow people to visualize that there is a great thing that's on the other side of this cloud. Now we're breaking through the cloud, and we're actually showcasing and highlighting what we're doing as a community. So I definitely thank you individuals for answering the call, because again, no, you didn't have to answer the call. You didn't have to reply or click on the link in order for you to be in here. Just to show, just being in here shows that you have a heart of a servant, and not just someone who voted you in, but you got voted in and you're being actively engaged within the city within itself. So my hat's off to you, my hair off to you as well. And just continue to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Tavares, you're gonna be
Hey,
bald, man.
this is outstanding.
I'm trying to leave. I'm trying to hold on to it though.
Well, I agree. You know, Mr. Rosa, you stated definitely. We are at a stage where we get to choose we want to go. We're at that proverbial fork in the road.
mm,
You can lead you to greater growth, greater prosperity, you know, for your city, or you can travel the road that has been well worn. Now, the feeling that I get is the feeling you described, looking to travel the road of the unknown. Let's try something new. Bring in programs like this to touch, you know, going to be, because as Mr. Wilkerson pointed out earlier, 1st century, your faculties don't move as fast as they. It's important to reach those that are going to come up behind you to replace you. Give them the inspiration and the tools to compete and to develop their goal for the city. As we're participating in a study, and one of the questions is, what 2030? What do you want to see it be? Who do you want it to? Well, my greatest goal is to see a city that has created, not to downplay how important Fort Hood is. Most of us on here are soldiers or have had relatives who are soldiers, and that's how we to create a city that has an independent economic interests and works greatly hand in hand with Fort Hood in their economy, that those that we have given, meaning, you know, those of us who came here as military members, we made this home for our families. And some of them, this is the only home they're able to provide them opportunities to stay at home. You know, you shouldn't be brightest because they don't see the opportunities that are here. The program can be the beginning, you know, of starting that and tapping that we know we have here. We are one of the, you know, when you think about it, most traveled cities. The people in this city, we have been more than most major cities.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we have not tapped into that knowledge. You know, we allow it to sit, or to tap into that knowledge and tap into, you know, the rich bring and the experiences that we had. You know, there is no be able to compete with us. But it takes a spark. That this is the spark.
Hey, that's beautiful, Rick. And as I was sitting there listening to your words, such powerful words, I saw what Secret highlighted how many children we have signed up so far. And I just want to share, when we were initially in dialogue, what the thought was behind the cultivation of the program, right? Because I don't want to go to church, you know what I'm saying, right? But I'm a deeply spiritual person, right? And I believe that we are in the need of a blessing. We're in need of mercy. We're in need of guidance. We're in need of opportunity. And I firmly believe that the creator of the universe has a responsibility to respond to the joy of children. And if we can bring joy and help children to believe and encourage children, and then we can assume our responsibility as elders in the environment because we're looking after the most precious gift that exists in the universe, the
Amen.
children,
Yeah.
right? And so we want to produce smiles and joy in the hearts and the spirit of children, all children from our community. And it's going to take some help in order to do that. And so let's make it amazing. Let's celebrate our children. Let's celebrate them. Let's give them a reason to believe that the world can be better, because what have we given them so far, right? It's our time now and we can do it, you know, and based on the powerful words and the energy that you all are speaking, I think that this is time. And I ain't gonna say I think nothing. I know it's time. Right. And I know that we are those individuals that have been born at a particular period in time in order to do it, because we're having a conversation. But it's not a conversation that's coming from Tavares. Tavares is from Carol City, Miami, Florida. Listen, I got a whole bunch of other things that I'd rather be talking about. Right. This is what God got on us right now. Youth drone experience. Let's make the youth drone experience an amazing event for these children, so that way we can begin the process of improving and evolving the technology of tomorrow.
Right on.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. Those who have watched, we definitely appreciate you guys for being in the room. And as we continue to grow out the youth drone experience, we're going to duplicate this process, because everything that you have seen and everything that everyone has said inside the room, they're saying it because they know that the energy in the room and the frequency in the room is actually going to cause that spark. And as we begin to spark within that frequency, then it's going to become inflamed and it's going to be combustible, and it's going to allow that child to gain the experience, not just to gain the experience, but they've gained the experience to create the opportunity of what is going to happen in the future. So if you're watching and you're in the clean, if you're just watching in general, allow yourself to say, you know what, I want to support this. You know what, I want to ensure that my child is enrolled the next time the youth drone experience comes up. So do not be selfish and watch this and don't do anything about it. But as you're watching this, go ahead and share this live, because there's someone else on your timeline that have been looking for something to put their child into, that has a creative child and they want that creativity to be activated. You have a lot of children that is destructive, but we want that destructive spirit to be constructive and allow that constructive child to actually be productive as a citizen. Because when you create a productive child, that child will be a producer. I'll say that again. When you take that constructive child, that destructive child, and you put him in a constructive environment, and that constructive environment allow that child to be productive, you will create a producer. Why? Because you tapped into the gift and the talent of that child. There's so much within this talent pool that we have to begin to feed the fish that are in the water in order for that fish to begin to breed other fish. And then when we begin to go fishing, we become fishermen of men. And there's more children that comes after that. And as we begin to feed into the child's spirit, that child is going to tell another child, like, you know what? Let's go do this. But let's continue these conversations. Let's continue to allow the energy in the room to be to be infectious and continue to make this conversation happen. Hey, we thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Ronnie Russell. I'm the president of the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce, and that is the great Tavares Bethel, who is the executive director of the Village United. And you guys be blessed. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And remember, tomorrow is another day for you to be successful.